What's going on, everyone, and welcome back to another video. It's time for another video I've been needing to do for a while. Today we're going to be talking about Super Smash Bros. Brawl. This is the third installment in the Smash Bros. Series, and it's been about 6 months-ish since I talked about Super Smash Bros. Melee. So, yeah, it's finally time for me to get back into this, and next year I'll probably finish up talking about the Smash Bros. Games. But yeah, here we go. The one that's got me into the franchise, Smash Bros. Brawl. So let's just not waste any more time, get started. This has overall got to be the so-called... It's complicated how people view this game. Some people really adore this game, one of the best Smash Bros. Experiences, or some are pretty indifferent with it based on a certain talk of Smash Brothers. Well, we'll find out how things go today. Is Smash Bros. Brawl actually that good? Time to find out. Okay, so as you know, this was basically my first experience in Smash Brothers. I remember back as a kid, I saw this game on like YouTube and stuff, and I've always wanted to try something out. It had Mario and Donkey Kong with a bunch of characters I have barely any connection with aside from Sonic, some of the Pokemon characters, I guess also kind of Kirby. I forgot how I got into Kirby really, but yeah, there was Kirby too, Kirby characters. So yeah, I didn't really know a lot of characters in Smash Brothers really, like at all. I was a little kid that just didn't know many characters. But of course, I got to play Brawl. We had a disc earlier, and I got to try out the so-called Adventure Mode, aka Subspace Emissary. We'll get to that in a little bit. So yeah, that was basically my experience. I really wanted to try out the single player mode because I saw a bunch of cutscenes online and stuff, and it made me really want to try it out. So I got to try it out finally, and while it took me ages to understand the game of Smash Brothers, man, it was such a fun time, honestly, and seriously one of... I know it's not the greatest. I did not prepare for this. Seriously, one of the greatest experiences I've had, honestly, and I can say right now that Super Smash Bros. Brawl was a fun time and nostalgic, honestly. You know, I also love to mess around on the stages, like Delfino Plaza being one of the ones I loved messing around with, just because I grew up with Super Mario Sunshine. It was just such a it just brings me back so many memories of this game, honestly. Just messing around in the events, by the way, just, you know, yeah, I just wanted to bring up a little backstory right there, because I had this game as a kid, and I was obsessed with messing around in it, honestly, so yeah. Despite that, though, I guess I should explain the gameplay. So, this game is floatier compared to other Smash Bros. Games in the series, and granted, there are other ones that float, and it's also tripping, so have fun with that. Yeah, that's one of the annoying things of this game. This game takes a more casual approach, rather than so-called competitive, I guess you can say, really. Now, I'm not really a competitive Smash person, so it didn't really matter. It didn't really bother me in the slightest at all. And I won't lie that I don't think the gameplay is the best in the series, really, because it's, you know, when you're used to, like, Ultimate, basically. But it's just something about Smash Bros. Brawl. It just felt like the real Smash Bros. Experience, in my opinion. Which Ultimate, it was just saying, because Ultimate exists, of course, which we'll talk about sometime next year. But Smash Bros. Brawl just felt something magical and different. The opening cutscene, although it's cutscenes of Subspace, it still hits hard, and the main theme itself, still probably my favorite in the series, honestly. The main theme song, the actual title screen that plays, it's a bit debatable, I think. I don't know, since it is just Subspace Emissary cutscenes, I still think, despite my opinions on Melee, it is the best one in the series, no doubt. So yeah. And also, it's just overall, like, the style of the game was a lot of characters. It just looks like a lot of characters, like, oh my god, Mario's real, or something like that. That's what I kind of described, like, the character models. It's like, it looks like the characters are, like, really, really, like, old outfits, if that's the best style. They're like the style of the game. That's what I used to think. And it doesn't feel that bad, honestly, so, yeah. It was overall really cool, so, yeah. As for some characters that are, you know, in this game, we have some newcomers, of course. Almost every character returns. The return characters that did not happen: Mewtwo, Roy, Young Link, Pichu. There's some returning ones, and there's probably another one forgetting, but regardless. We didn't get every character returning, but we did get some classic ones. We still have the main ones here and stuff. And of course, some new characters. I guess I could talk about being Diddy Kong. I'm surprised it took till Melee to get Diddy Kong in the series, but yeah, Diddy Kong. He's awesome, honestly. Toon Link, which is a lockable character you get in the single player mode. It's honestly, it's a neat character. Zero Suit Samus, which is Samus in her... Oh my god, this is how people find out that Samus is a girl, by the way. Samus is hot, by the way. Just make it out there. I hope people don't mind me being unhinged sometimes. Okay, anyway, Meta Knight, the most broken character in Brawl. King DDD, one of my most played characters in Brawl, honestly. I loved playing him. Pokemon Trainer was a cool idea. Wolf, which was cool. I'm not really a Star Fox fan, but it was a neat idea. It was pretty cool to see Wolf. Ike, while I'm not a Fire Emblem fan, I really love playing Ike. Probably my favorite Fire Emblem character to play in the Smash series, honestly. Makes me really want to try out his games, honestly. Pit, which I didn't really know Pit. If Kid Icarus Uprising didn't exist, I wouldn't be a fan of him. Pit is honestly really awesome. I love him. We got Wario. He was about to be in Melee, but I guess due to time restraints, he had to be in Brawl. Olimar, which wasn't... I don't really play Olimar as much, but I really love the Pikmin series. Rob, of course, being the GOAT. Snake, which was a surprising third-party edition. I still have yet to play Metal Gear Solid, but it was a really big deal, I'm sure. And then, of course, Sonic himself. This was a big deal, honestly. Sonic... They even had to delay Smash Bros. Brawl just to put Sonic in the game. That is something, honestly. Oh, and Lucario and... I almost forgot Game & Watch. I can't believe... Oh, yeah, I mean, returning ones. Also, Lucario and Lucas are here. I kind of forgot those characters exist sometimes. So, yeah. The Brawl roster is really, really good. And I can say right now that, yeah, it's overall some good representation of the cast, honestly. So, despite me talking about this game a lot, and... there's a bunch of other modes I can talk about. So, obviously, you're seeing from the footage is the single-player campaign mode as Subspace Emissary. This is the single-player mode you play throughout the game. The plot is... well, the plot's a little confusing, to say the least. Because, basically, it's it's basically kind of different. Like, Mario and Kirby knows there's trouble going on with the subspace, the black purple holes that suck up the world. They know that's going on, but some characters don't know that's happening until like later on in the game. And you see a bunch of interactions and team ups with certain characters, and a lot of them still hold up as some of my favorites, like Fox and Diddy Kong, Pikachu and Samus, Mario and Pit. Some classic ones. Also Meta Knight, Marth, and Ike. Some iconic pairings. I really like them. And some ones that join up later on and become a full like group of characters, like the most popular one probably being Mario, Yoshi, Kirby, Link, and Pit. My personal favorite being the most underrated one being Donkey Kong, Diddy Kong, Captain Falcon, Olimar, Samus, Pikachu, and Rob. That's like my favorite group of characters that no one really talks about. So yeah, there you go. It's just overall seeing a bunch of interactions with different characters, and why we see a bunch of fan arts, for better or worse, with some of these. Now, I will admit, as much as I praise the Subspace Emissary for the cutscenes, the gameplay has a lot to be desired. So, to make it sure that every character has the ability to, you know, work for platforming, there's a lot of level designs that kinda just are whatever, to be honest. It all takes place in normal settings of like areas, so there's not like no crazy like, you know, going through like a bunch of references to other games really, and that's just the only nitpick. And also the Great Maze. To be honest, I don't think the Great Maze is as bad as people think it is once you get the hang of it. It's just more or less kind of boring to play, because like you just gotta defeat enemies and it just feels boring basically, so yeah. But it's not really a problem. It's perfectly fine. It's just the Great Maze, yeah. Subspace Emissary does have flaws, and I'm going to say this right now, like I said, probably before. Smash Bros. And single-player modes sometimes don't mix. So, yeah. But I still adore Subspace, and I still think it's my favorite, even with its flaws. So, yeah. Okay, I'm back from a call. Yeah, despite the praise I get of Subspace Emissary, it does have problems. I still think it's my favorite of all the single-player modes. Barely, at least. Yeah, anyway, other modes that we see throughout the series, we got the boss battles, of course. We have the The classic mode, I really love the classic mode, all-star mode, a bunch of other single-player modes. A lot of the single-player modes I really love messing around with, honestly, and they're kind of just... And also target tests, while it's kind of nerfed because I guess coming up with target tests for every character would be a lot of work, I guess. It's still nice. I don't know why they removed it completely for Ultimate. We'll talk about that later, but it's fine. The single-player modes are honestly really cool here, so yeah. So I think I've really talked about a lot with Smash Bros. Brawl. The character roster, also the soundtrack of some of the characters holds up as some iconic ones. Tinker Brush Symphony remix specifically. Some people compare it to the original quite often. Like, I see people either love this remix or some people are not a fan of it. I personally love it for different reasons because, well, one is supposed to be for a real game, and one of them is supposed to be for a fighting game, so I just don't think it's comparable, to be honest. But that's just me. But aside that, of course, some other songs I really love listening to hold up really well to this day. So yeah. So yeah, I think I pretty much talked about a lot with Super Smash Bros. Brawl, and I think I safely could say, while it does have its problems with the gameplay, and sure, there's mods exist, so you don't have to worry about tripping and stuff, I definitely do think this was the Smash Bros. Game that really got me into a bunch of different franchises, honestly. And I will respect it for that reason. So I say it could be my favorite Smash Brothers game, content-wise, honestly. We'll talk about Ultimate later. So yeah, that's Smash Brothers Brawl. It's peak. It's such a fantastic experience, and sometimes I go back to it, and I still have a fun time regardless of the gameplay. So yeah. Anyway, thank you guys for watching. Next time will be Smash Brothers for Wii U and 3DS, the most divisive Smash Brothers games in the series. We'll see why they're hated, and really think if they deserve the hate. We'll find out. Later, folks.